I was going to bring one about Toyota. So Toyota is doing the castings,
Oh yeah.
and now all of a sudden they found Jesus, and now they're all electric, and they're going forward, and they're going to have 10 billion cars by 2030. Exaggerating, but they're still like way behind the game. They're going to trail, all the, I assume Ford, GM, even Ford and GM are ahead of them. And I did hear, which I thought was interesting, I don't know if it's true, but the only remaining, the gentleman, the Toyota, who has the last name Toyota, who was the prior CEO, who got canned, who's now on I think he's the chairman of the board. Apparently he's going to get canned from that position too. So he's going to be completely out of the company, which means I don't think there's any more Toyotas affiliated with Toyota, which might let them maybe change the face of their company somewhat in the future. But I found their kind of their sudden change kind of ironic, and they're in deep doo-doo because they sell to China, and they're going to lose that market. And I also saw a photo today, since I'm speaking about China and has nothing to do with what I'm saying, but I saw a photo today of this huge space that had electric vehicles, which are the vehicles in large part that BYD was selling to its dealers, but the dealers weren't selling. So they're just sitting there. So from BYD's perspective and their finances, it looks like they're doing great, but their products are just sitting and literally, I think the article said, literally rusting away.
I think they weren't even sold. They just produced them, they registered them, and they left them out in huge fields to just rot away. So they will get enough sales to get more money from the government. But being China, I don't know why the government doesn't see all these fields with cars. It's kind of, I thought that was kind of weird.
Well, I think it's they actually do sell them to the dealers, and the dealers get stuck with them because it lets them promote the fact that BYD is selling X number of units when they're not
thousands
really.
Of them.
Yeah, no, hundreds of thousands, hundreds of thousands, really. Yeah, and I think there was a lawsuit filed in China by one car company against BYD, asserting accounting misfeasance.
But yeah, that's true. I remember that.
And I think it relates to that they're just pushing off these cars, not really selling them to the public. They're not being sold to the public, but for book purposes for BYD, it looks like they are.
But just imagine how good Tesla's numbers would be if those cars weren't counted. Sorry, Rodman, I just talk.
But how would this be sustainable? If I'm a dealer and I'm buying like $50 million worth of cars and I'm just throwing them into a parking lot, like eventually I'm going to run out of money, right?
Yeah.
So I don't see how that's sustainable.
And you're right. And part of the Chinese model is they had too many dealers, too many OEMs, and it's a way for them to reduce the number, so they end up with a proper number to service their country. And I think they're fully aware of it, and they know that, because I think I read not about this one prior, that there were literally hundreds of dealers that were going to go out of business, and they were aware of it, but they couldn't make any money because they couldn't sell the cars, and they were obligated somehow financially in that transaction with BYD, so they couldn't make a go of it. So I agree. It sounds counterintuitive, but China is not the United States, and they have their own thing going, and they have their own economic problems that are severe enough. I just read today that they're doing another round of basically quantitative easing, where they're going to just flood the market with some more money and allow the purchase of second homes to try to escalate their economy.
Just imagine how bad it is for the environment to have all these cars unused, just
100%.
standing there.
It's unbelievable. Go ahead and pull up the video real quick that I just linked. Ronman, go ahead. Sorry.
And Buffett and Munger, I wonder if they know about this.
Right. Don't even get me started on that. Make sure the video is on mute. I'll go into like a rant as to why Berkshire Hathaway should buy Tesla for the next half hour. Go ahead and pull up the video. Make sure it's on mute and just play the first few seconds of it so folks can see what we're talking about here in relation to BYD. Again, so it's ooh, that was a cool view. This is in reference. So this is rewind it all the way back, all the way back. Yeah, all the way back. Yeah. So this is apparently in China. There's a field of just a bunch of BYD sitting, and they're all registered, and I guess documented as sold. But and there's a gentleman speaking Chinese. And this is sort of a video of a person, and we'll make sure to link the video in the comments below so you can kind of go check it out for yourself. But apparently there's thousands of BYD cars just sitting in a lot somewhere, with register plates marked as sold, but doing nothing. So the one of the conclusions that the video person, the person who's created the video, comes to is that, hey, like the company has created all these cars, this gentleman, and they're just kind of counting the cars are sold when they're not actually sold. But I think, I don't know, that could they just be in a holding lot? Could it be maybe they're waiting for a part that hasn't been manufactured yet? And I get that them having license plates on is strange, but I encourage everybody to check out this video themselves. I haven't finished it yet, but I have heard of it. But I think this is in reference of what the panel is talking about. So any additional thoughts? Thank you, producer wife. You can take this off the screen. But yeah, do you guys want to add any more color here?
I was going to say that this is new. So this is a problem that's existed. So, I mean, I heard about this, that the dealers were stuck probably like 2 or 3 months ago and that they were just sitting on cars. So this is the current version, which means that the problem's just escalating. And by the way, can BYD think of another color? Is that possible?
You can buy any car you want as long as it's white. Go ahead, Roman.
No, that's crazy. Yeah, I was like going from Toyota to that. Yeah, if that's the case, like how much malfeasance is that? Like, and that's always been an issue with China. Like, I've invested in Chinese stocks or companies, and like you really have a lot less guarantees that people aren't doing creative stuff than you do in the US, because we've seen what happens when people are creative in the US. That was Enron, right? And many other companies since that, Lehman Brothers. So yeah, that is, I mean, I wonder what the scale of that is. And I guess it's just something that we're going to have to keep an eye out on, because that is crazy.
Yeah, I think the second quarter numbers are going to be fascinating to follow for these Chinese automakers, because in the first quarter we were seeing a drop already, Q4 versus Q1, and then year over year as well. There was a clear drop from quarter to quarter, and I think Q2, if the trends are continuing in the way that it seems like it's continuing, that we should see BYD, XPeng, and all these other companies show even weaker Q2s versus Q1s. And so, yeah, I need to dig into this a little bit more, this specific topic, because if this is actually real, like BYD is probably not making money. They're probably completely unprofitable. Forget it on the EVs just as an overall business, because they do sell gas cars as well, and let's not forget it. It would really just highlight how difficult it is to be a profitable electric vehicle maker. And there's only one that is doing that globally right now. And if BYD's, like somebody said, I forget who it was, but imagine if Charlie and Warren got wind of this, right? And what's the reaction there? It's like, holy crap! One of our investments is literally not. They're fake. It's kind of a fraud. So
we know that they reduced their position in BYD. So maybe one of the reasons they reduced their position is because they have information like this. Besides I know they don't like conflict, so that was a problem. But they must be. I would assume those guys would be aware of this, because that's their business. And the other thing is that we obviously don't have access to everything in China. So we saw that field because somebody happened to take a picture of it. But China's a big country, so I'm guessing there's other locations like that where just cars are just loaded up.
There were several fields in the movie. There were several fields.
Several fields. Okay.
So I just want to warn, because this is the kind of stuff that Tesla Q accused Tesla of doing, right? So you really make sure that we have the right information before we
100%.
Yeah, I feel comfortable with this because it's not new. I don't believe this is a new. I think it's a new image, but the story is not new. And I don't think they would deny their model, the sell to the dealer and then dealer sells to the public. I think that is the model. I also did see, and I don't know if it's true, but NIO, and you kind of along what you were saying, Farzad, NIO is going to put out deliver like 50,000 cars in the first 6 months, which is crap, because they're supposedly a growing company. And the rumor this week was they were going to partner with Mercedes on the electric vehicle side. And I don't know if that's true or not, but it would be an interesting move if they end up doing that.